Dear friends, Swagatam. Welcome back to KNS Biochemistry. In this video presentation, I am going to present one of the topic of bioinformatics. It is nothing but the protein structure, the primary protein structure analysis and protein structure prediction. Let us start the session. Come along with me. Protein structure analysis and prediction. So everyone know about protein. What is a protein? Protein is nothing but an important biomolecule, and this protein structure is made up of amino acid residues. That is, amino acids, you know that they are the chemical structures having amide group, that is amide bond. In a single amino acid will be having an amine group and carboxylic group. So each and every amino acid will make an amide bond or a peptide bond. It is called a peptide bond, and it forms a peptide, small peptides. Small peptides, when they are lengthened in their that is structure, you will get polypeptide. The bigger peptides are called polypeptides. And if you see the configuration structure of the proteins, proteins will be having different levels of configuration. That is primary structure of the protein, secondary structure of the protein, tertiary structure of the protein, quaternary structure of the protein. So we already know that primary structure. What is primary structure? Primary structure is nothing but the amino acid sequence. Amino acid sequence of the amino acid sequence of any protein or peptide is called primary structure. Secondary structure of the protein is further any modification happens in the primary structure, like making alpha helix, beta belated sheet, then further folding happens in the amino acid sequence. Then it is secondary structure of the protein. The tertiary structure of the protein is still more complex. That is, even complex folding and bending of the side chains, the connecting of the side chains of the amino acid with the other residues of the peptide, so that it makes a very complex further folded structure of the protein. That is tertiary structure of the protein. And if you take the quaternary structure of the protein, the quaternary structure is nothing but you see that polypeptides, 2 or 3 or 4 polypeptide subunits, they join together, they act as a single unit. For example, you take lactate dehydrogenase enzyme, that is actually having a quaternary structure. 4 subunits will join together, and all the 4 subunits acts together as an enzyme, lactate dehydrogenase. So that is an example for quaternary structure. So the structure of the protein is already known. How to analyze the structure of these proteins, that protein structure or primary structure analysis of any protein, and predicting it, its further structure, secondary or tertiary or quaternary structure prediction, whether it can be done with the help of bioinformatics tools, with the help of bioinformatics softwares. So that is the context of this topic here. Protein structure, primary structure analysis of any protein, and prediction of the other levels of that protein structure using bioinformatics softwares, bioinformatics software tools. So let us see the protein structure analysis and prediction now. So what is protein structure prediction? Here you can see that this is the primary structure of a protein, and further folding is the alpha or beta helix, then is the secondary structure. Further complex folding, the tertiary structure, and this is quaternary structure. So any protein will be having any of all these levels of the configuration. So protein structure prediction is the inference of the 3-dimensional structure of a protein from its amino acid sequence. That is the prediction of its folding and its secondary and tertiary structure from its primary structure, deriving the secondary and tertiary structure from the primary structure of the protein. So that is called protein structure prediction. So for protein structure prediction, you said that whether we have any the softwares, bioinformatics softwares. So that is what we are going to see here. So all biological macromolecules like proteins exhibit the greatest diversity of structure and function. Virtually all the processes that we associate with life, both basic and esoteric, are carried out or enabled by proteins. It follows that the more we know and understand about proteins, the more we know about our life, because proteins are doing all the metabolic functions. So not only how it functions, but also how it goes wrong in diseases. In diseased condition, for example, cancer. In cancerous condition, you can see that protein configuration will change. So by studying the protein configuration during cancerous condition, you can study about the disease. So based on this idea began, for the past 40 years, our knowledge of protein structure has gradually increased. Initially, through the effort of X-ray crystallographic method, using that only protein structures were studied. But for the last 20 years, it was done by NMR spectroscopy method. The number of known structure is now considerably studied by this X-ray crystallography and NMR. And what is apparent is that protein structures often reveal in a very direct way how things work well. On the whole, proteins do not function through some abstract diffuse effects, but behave more like little machines that trap, chop, bind, and join the substrates on which they act, including, you see that protein connected with sugars, nucleic acids, and lipids. So here you see that we have already used X-ray crystallography, NMR spectrometry for studying the structure of protein. But today, since we have bioinformatics tools, softwares, using that we can study the structure of these proteins even better than the other two methods. So better advancement is there. So protein sequence and structure analysis, how to do that? The comparison of protein structures, it began as soon as there was more than one known structure. Suppose you see that one protein is there. That protein is available in closely related species, same protein. Is there any small difference or large difference between the structure of that protein, all the species? So there comes the need for protein sequencing and structure analysis. Specifically, the structures of myoglobin and hemoglobin, for example. From this earlier point, it was immediately apparent that equivalent protein structures can result from sequences that are very different. So this is going to emphasize the power of comparing protein structures to see beyond similarities that are not obvious from just sequence data. So if you study the structure of myoglobin and hemoglobin, to compare them, myoglobin is a monomer unit, hemoglobin is a tetramer unit. So you know the difference only if you study the sequence and analyze the structure. Otherwise, you cannot understand that. So that is why you see that protein structure analysis becomes significant. So protein structure comparison, residue-based comparison method. So over the years, many methods have been developed to compare protein structures. Most of these are based on the idea of optimal superposition of equivalent atoms or residues, and the almost universal measure of how close the structure compare is the root mean square of the distance between equivalent pairs. This measure is not ideal under all circumstances, and variations have been developed that use the comparison of local subsets to avoid difficulties associated with the relative movement of substrates between the two proteins being compared. That is, when you are comparing them, we are facing all these problems. So how to overcome all these problems? So computational problems also arise in the initial determination of the equivalence between positions. This is an alignment problem, and the methods used in sequence comparison have been adapted to this more difficult domain, despite the rigor of the RMS measure. So here you see that how to solve these problems, computational problems, structure problems, when you compare closely related proteins, problems will be there. So how to overcome all this problem? For that, we have to go for a standard method, standard technique to analyze the structure of the protein. So then only we will be able to overcome all these problems when you are comparing the protein structure. So fold-based comparison method is another method. Most distantly related structures of the proteins can be compared by this fold-based comparison method. The outline of this method is that above may be too focused on the details to allow an overall similarity to be recognized in the fold or part of the fold of the two distantly related proteins. To concentrate on this bigger picture, the details of the structures can be neglected either by literally smoothing out the chain or by reducing secondary structure elements to simple line segments. So many structure comparison methods have been adopted to use this more reduced representation, which also has the advantage of comparing fewer points, typically an order of magnitude less, giving a corresponding increase in computation time. So here you see that using the two methods, comparison methods, you can overcome the problem. When secondary structures are reduced to line segments, that is a stick model, an even greater reduction in the level of detail can be achieved by collapsing each stick to a point, turning the 3D protein representation into 2D structure diagram. The resulting 2D representation is not always ambiguous, especially for larger and multi-domain proteins, but for a typical domain size of 200 to 300 amino acid residues, the resulting figure is reasonably unique. That is, you are taking 3D structure, converting into 2D structure, and you are going to analyze it. So that is going to become effective for analyzing the secondary structures. Next, sequence structure correlations. So any correlation between structural features and the sequences are potentially useful, and these extend from the overall fit of the sequence onto the structure down to fragments or motifs. That is, correlation can be analyzed, and a motif means a bioinformatics that is structure drawn using software. As with all protein sequence analysis, the uncertainty of features used in the analysis can be reduced by using the multiple sequence alignment. Sequence or structure correlation can embody either generic properties such as hydrophobic amino acids with burial in the structure, or more specific properties such as a particular configuration of residues that form a motif associated with a particular structure or function. Secondary structure and exposure prediction. So here in the prediction of secondary structure, see that situation where there is weak sequence similarity between the protein of unknown structure and the protein of known structure. That is, known structure is template protein, unknown is target protein. Unknown means any diseased protein. It is possible to use the predicted secondary structure to support the match, both as an overall fit and for specific details of the alignment. The state of the art in secondary structure prediction and exposure is currently obtained through training an ANN on multiple sequence alignments. That artificial neuronal network, it is there in that is in biotechnology, where also you can use an approach used both in the PSI, PRED and PhD programs. That is, these are all softwares, bioinformatics softwares. Both secondary structure and exposure predictions can be used to constrain the alignment of sequences through the inhibition of gaps in secondary structure and their encouragement in regions with high predicted exposure. An improved alignment can lead to a better prediction, and the process can be iterated. So these predicted residue states provide a powerful guide for matching a sequence directly onto a structure. This type of match, commonly called threading of amino acid sequences between the target and the template protein. The predicted states can be aligned directly with the observed states in the unknown structure. So motif matching, next one. You are going to draw a motif structure using bioinformatics tools. Then that motif of two different proteins can be analyzed and matched. Progressing toward more remote similarity between sequences leads to the situation where the target sequence has no significant overall sequence similarity with any known structure, but shares a fragmentary similarity that with the motif, with a superfamily or class of protein. Such motifs typically indicate a wide group of proteins ranging in specificity from those that derive from a clearly related but diverse family. For example, you take protein kinase enzyme. It is a protein. To those that are associated with a particular function, such as calcium binding, that is a protein kinase activities connected with calcium binding. So the secondary structure of the protein can be studied, and you can see the behavior of the calcium binding of that protein also. Then protein structure prediction. The ideal of predicting the structure of a protein directly from just its amino acid sequence has long been held as the holy grail of theoretical calculations on proteins. That is, you have to analyze the amino acid sequences first, primary structure. Then from that, go for fast folding proteins. The native structure can sometimes be calculated, but this is far from the performance required to tackle the typical globular protein of biological interest. So the current approaches to this to solve the problems have strayed from the true path into a variety of hybrid methods that incorporate components of matching against known structures along the lines outlined above. That is outlined there in the other two methods for sequence or structure comparison. Principal among these are fragment-based methods that attempt to assemble model structures, what I mentioned previous one, from fragments drawn from the collection of known structures. These must be put together in a physical, reasonable way and evaluated for their packing contributions. Similarly, approaches have attempted to grow model structures as a constrained random walk, again being evaluated for packing as parts are added. So as evaluated by the current approach assessment, some of these methods have had good results on a limited number of proteins, which although small in size are still much larger than anything that can be attempted by pure that is ab initio methods. So you had the other approaches, but today you see that we are having advanced versions of you see that domains, subdomains in bioinformatic tools, so that they can be used to solve all these problems. Here you can see that primary structure of a protein. The primary structure of the protein, as I already said, amino acids are there as in a sequence. They forms the polypeptide chain. Polypeptide chains will be having amino terminus, carboxyl terminus, end, and you see that then these proteins are biosynthesized in ribosomes, and after that they are coming out of the ribosomes. In the Golgi apparatus, they are post-translated. That is post-translational modification takes place, phosphorylation, glycosylation, everything happens there. So that primary structure becomes secondary structure later on. So the primary structure can be, you see that folded further into alpha helix or beta strand or beta sheets like that. That happens because of hydrogen bonds between the side chain or main chains of the polypeptides. And further coiling is then it is called super secondary unit. Here you can see that a figure right hand side, an alpha helix with hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds are in yellow color. So this is a secondary structure of a protein. Then structure is structure, again further modification, further folding in the structure because of hydrophobic interaction, hydrophilic interaction, all these things. And you are getting further folding and you will get the tertiary structure of the protein. Then quaternary structure, as already I mentioned, that is monomer units when joined together, dimer, trimer, tetramer, pentamer will be formed, then that will be a quaternary structure of the protein. Here you can see that protein domain formed by bioinformatic software. Right hand side, this is sky blue color, see that green color, all are protein domains. The two shown protein structures share a common domain, the PH domain, which is involved in phosphatidyl inositol triphosphate binding. So that is shown in a domain structure. This is called a motif structure. Domains, motif, and folds in protein structure. So the structural domain means the main domain of the protein. That is called structural domain, where you see that you will be studying the behavior of that structural domain, functional domain of the protein. Structural and sequence motif. See that this is the motif. So structural sequence motif refer to short segments of protein, three-dimensional structure. This is the chemical structure of any amino acid sequence that were found in a large number of different proteins. Then super secondary structure. Super secondary structure refers to a specific combination of secondary structure elements such as beta, alpha, beta units, helix, turn, helix, motif. Some of them may be also referred to as structural motifs. So these are all the advanced versions of protein structure prediction using bioinformatics tools. Domains, motifs, folds, super secondary structure and all. Then protein fold. Further protein folding happens. Super domain is there. Then protein dynamics, that to study the movement or functioning of a protein. So here this structure shows ribosome, synthesis of proteins in ribosome, but only picture is shown, but animation is there. That is done by bioinformatics software. So if you see the animation, protein synthesis will be going on. It looks like it is happening in your cell, but here in the slide we cannot show that. So even see that animation is also possible. That is called a protein dynamic study. That is done using bioinformatics. Protein folding is also done.
Must take a sweet little honey. Give me all your loving and I'll give you all my money. Yeah, you're my cute little darling. I wanna love you all night long. And I wanna shake that body. Come on, girl, I wanna.
So protein structure prediction. See that from 1975 onwards, so many protein structures has been determined and predicted using very old methods. Like you have got electron microscopy method, NMR method is there, X-ray crystallography is there. So on the right hand side you can see the graph that shows the rate of protein structure determination by different methods and year from 1976 onwards to 2014. So the number of new protein structure per year predicted is shown in y-axis, then the year and the method in the x-axis. So the rate of protein structure determination in log scale, if you see that it is increasing up to even more than 1000 proteins after 2000. So around 90% of the protein structures available in the protein data bank, PDB, that is shown in the left hand side, several proteins available in the protein data bank PDB, and they have been determined by X-ray crystallography. This method allows one to measure the three-dimensional, the 3D density distribution of electrons in the protein in the crystallized state, and thereby infer the 3D coordinates of all the atoms to be determined to a certain resolution. But roughly 9% of the known protein structures have been obtained by NMR, that is nuclear magnetic resonance method. For larger protein complexes, cryo-electron microscopy, another method that can determine protein structures. The resolution is in this method is typically that is lower than X-ray crystallography or NMR, but the maximum resolution is steadily increasing in this method. This technique is still particularly valuable for very large protein complexes such as virus coat proteins and amyloid fibers. Even you see that the COVID-19, that coronavirus protein structure has been determined, but not by crystallography or any other old methods. For that we are having bioinformatic tools. Using bioinformatic tools you can determine the coronavirus, genome of coronavirus and the viral coat protein, everything. That is possible because we have got software development is there. So if you see that secondary structure determination of any protein, generally secondary structure composition can be determined via circular dichroism, that is CD, or vibrational spectroscopy. These two methods are used for to predict the secondary structure of any protein. So this vibrational spectroscopy can also be used to characterize the conformation of peptides, polypeptides and proteins. Two-dimensional infrared spectroscopy is another method that has become a very valuable method in investigate the structures of flexible peptides and proteins that cannot be studied with other methods. A more qualitative picture of protein structure is often obtained by
proteolysis, which is also useful to screen for more crystallizable protein samples. Novel implementations of this approach, including fast parallel proteolysis, fast TPP, can probe the structured fraction of the protein and its stability without the need for purification of protein. Once a protein structure has been experimentally determined, further detailed studies can be done computationally, that is using bioinformatic tools, software tools like molecular dynamic tools or molecular dynamics simulation tool that is used to study the structure of the proteins. In the previous slide I was showing the molecular dynamic study of protein dynamics. For example, we have seen synthesis of ribosomes, animation of ribosomes. So present day, if you want to predict the structure of the protein, for that we are having databases, bioinformatic databases. Let us see about them. Protein structure databases, they are available. This kind of protein structure database is a software database that is modeled around the various experimentally determined protein structures. The aim of most protein structure databases available today is to organize and annotate the protein structures, providing the biological community access to the experimental data in a useful way. Data included in protein structure databases often includes 3D structure, the 3D coordinates, as well as experimental information such as until cell dimensions and angles for X-ray crystallography determined structures of the protein. Though most instances, in this case, either proteins or a specific structural determinations of a protein also contain sequence information, and some databases even provide means for performing sequence-based queries. The primary attribute of a structure, that is protein structure database, is structural information, whereas sequence databases, that is they are the other type of databases, they focus on sequence information, that is protein sequence, amino acid sequence information only, and contain no structural information for the majority of entries. Protein structure databases are critical for many efforts in computational biology, such as structure-based drug designing, both in developing the computational methods used and in providing a large experimental data set used by some methods to provide insights about the function of a protein. So using these databases, even structure classification has been done nowadays. So protein structures can be grouped based on their structural similarity, that is the topological class, based on that classification is done, or a common evolutionary origin, that is related proteins comes from related species. Based on that, structure classification is done. The structural classification of protein database and CATH database provide two different structural classification of proteins. When the structural similarity of a protein is large, the two proteins have possibly diverged from a common ancestor, that is through the species relationship, and they have shared structure, common structure between proteins is considered evidence of homology. This is homology. Protein comes from closely related species through evolutionary ancestry. Structure similarity can then be used to group proteins together into protein superfamilies. If shared structure of a protein is significant but the fraction shared is small, the fragment shared may be the consequence of a more dramatic evolutionary events such as horizontal gene transfer, and joining proteins sharing these fragments into protein superfamilies is no longer justified. So the topology of a protein can be used to classify proteins as well. That is how structure classification is done. Knot theory and circuit topology are two topology frameworks developed for classification of protein folds based on chain crossing and intra-chain contacts respectively. So nowadays we have computational way of predicting the structure, that is computational prediction of protein structure. The generation of a protein sequence, that is the primary amino acid sequence, is much easier than the determination of a protein structure. However, the structure of a protein gives much more insight in the function of a protein than its sequence, amino acid sequence. Therefore, a number of methods for the computational prediction of a protein structure from its sequence, amino acid sequence, have been developed nowadays. They are ab initio prediction methods, they use just the sequence of a protein. Next one is threading and homology modeling methods. Can build a 3D model for a protein of unknown structure from experimental structures of evolutionary related proteins called a protein family, that is closely related ancestors of a species. So dear friends, so far we have seen the various methods used to predict the structure of the protein. The old methods used like X-ray crystallography, then electron microscopy methods, all those things from 1976 onwards. And I have explained you about the recent methods, the bioinformatics, computational softwares available for protein structure prediction. So here I am going to give you the names of some of the protein structure prediction softwares, that is bioinformatics softwares available online. These protein structure prediction softwares are commonly used software tools for protein structure prediction. So some of the protein structure prediction software tools available in bioinformatics are homology modeling software, that is going to compare the homology of a protein with related ancestors. Then protein threading software, that is also used for secondary structure analysis. Then ab initio methods, they are used for prediction of the protein structure. Then for the secondary structure prediction of the protein, we are having software, secondary structure prediction softwares are available. Then for the transmembrane helix, that is the proteins which is inserted into the plasma membrane, to analyze the structure of those proteins, transmembrane helix and signal peptide prediction softwares are available. These are all some of the softwares available for protein structure prediction online. Dear friends, in this session we have seen about structure of protein, the amino acid residue, the primary structure of the protein, secondary structure of the protein, tertiary and quaternary structure of the proteins. Then we have seen about primary structure analysis of any amino acid sequence or a peptide sequence. Then we have seen about protein structure analysis and comparison methods. Then we have seen about protein structure prediction, that is when once if you are given with a primary amino acid residue sequence, how to predict the structure, that is the secondary structure of a protein, tertiary structure of a protein, if needed the quaternary structure of the protein, that is called protein structure prediction techniques. For all these things in bioinformatics we are having that some of the tools, that is software tools available. So I have mentioned the software tools available in bioinformatics for protein structure analysis and prediction. So with that I am going to conclude here. I will be back with another session later. Until then, it's bye from KNS Biochemistry. Be happy, stay home, stay safe. Thank you and all. Thank you very much and namaskar.